has happened before.
All right.
All right. Well, it's week 8, and I'd say the vibes are at an all-time high. Is that accurate? After a 4-1 week in week 7,
Definitely.
Yeah.
um, that's a big. I mean, that's a big week. We jumped. I was looking at it last night. I mean, I think we jumped almost like 1,300 spots in the standings,
It's unbelievable.
thanks to that week.
It's
And
crazy that there's that many spots to jump and we're not in like first place.
at
We
16,
jumped 1,300 spots. We're below 500 still.
well, I mean, it just goes to show though, like you have a big week, what can happen,
Yeah.
Right.
So 16, 18, and 1 overall. We're knocking on the door of being 500, and another week like that, and we're a game over 500. Kind of right back in the mix. That was huge, much needed. But just to recap the picks, speaking of much needed, I got a much needed win with the Ravens -3. So I improved to 2-5 overall. Kieran, you were the Steelers pick last week, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
So you got the win with the Steelers +3. So you improved to 4-3. And then Bowen took the loss with the Chargers +5.5. Another big win for the team on Sunday night with the Eagles -2.5, and then a huge win on Monday night. The Vikings +7, one straight up, improved to 4-2-1 on Monday night. So good week. Any thoughts in terms of individual picks, team picks, anything coming out of last week?
No, I mean, it felt good. Obviously, it's a shame that we couldn't get the sweep. I mean, I really like that Chargers pick. I also had it on my card. So, it's really no knock on Bowen there. I was rooting for it hard. But yeah, I mean, it felt good. And now, yeah, we're knocking on the door of going to 500 and above. We are so close. It feels like this could really be a turning point. Like you said, to start it off, the vibes are very high. So I feel like we're feeling good. I feel like it's kind of just getting to that point of the season where maybe we're starting to each see the card how we want to see it. So even if we don't all put it together every single week, I think that collectively we can put together winning efforts from here on out and continue to build off of this good week.
Bowen, any thoughts?
Yeah, I apologize for being the one loss. It is what it is.
Nothing,
We move on.
Sorry about.
We move on. Yeah, we
Nothing to
move
be
on.
sorry about.
That Chargers game just felt weird from the start. It kind of just felt like a wonky game where the Chiefs just kind of, you know, just beat them pretty soundly. I mean, it wasn't really Herbert and Staley, them really have some issues. Eckler wasn't right. So the vibes really weren't there all game.
Oh, I
Kind of
mean,
felt like they were never
hold on though. I mean, to be fair, like, it's a, you know, 3-0, 3-3. KC goes up a touchdown. Chargers tie it. KC goes up a touchdown. Chargers tie it. They got the touchdown late in the second quarter, right before the half, to take a 7-point lead, but like, right in striking distance, and and then they got that touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of seal it. But I think probably the most shocking thing is just the fact that the Chargers couldn't score a fucking point in the second half.
Crazy.
I feel like, and we'd have to go back and watch the tape, but when we were talking about this game, and not to toot my own horn, I was on the other side. Which I know at that point I didn't have a lot of credibility, with my individual record. But I feel like the way we talked about it is like, this was going to be one of those games where it was probably going to be a little back and forth. It was, probably going to be a close game throughout, like competitive.
Division game,
and it could go either way. I mean, I feel like we felt like it, could potentially go the way of like a 31-17 type deal, but in a game like this, felt good having the points. And again, like the Chargers were in this game kind of the whole way. They were a score from being inside the number for most of the second half until that late touchdown. So, I don't know that I would say that they were never, I mean, it's
It just the vibes were just never.
Yeah, but
never. They just.
I
clearly
also
weren't-
want to say too,
I mean,
let's not apologize for getting picks wrong, right? It's all gonna happen.
yeah,
I'm
I know.
4-3,
It's just 5-0
Tristan,
would
you're
have been
whatever
dope.
record.
5-0 would have
Yeah.
been dope.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
for
no,
sure.
we don't have to apologize for picks. And also, my kind of logic behind it too is that if we're picking that game, it's been a one-score game for like the last 3 years, and they play two
Yeah.
times a year. So if you're gonna bet that game, just
Right.
logically, you kind of have to take the underdog in that spot. Of course, it's +5, and of course, they were down 7 for a good portion of it. But that's kind of like what we were going for. And then sometimes you just end up on the wrong side of it. But
it wasn't a
there's
bad.
no good
it wasn't a
losses,
bad
but there are
week.
losses that are like, you see where the logic was. You can't, we don't have to
Yeah.
apologize for incorrect picks.
Again, it's not like you had a pick where the team just got fucking blown out. I mean, they were in it the whole time. So it was a fun game to watch. We were in it the whole way. So yeah, it is what it is. So I think a couple last week was actually a huge week for buys. So teams that are coming off a bye this week, it'll be interesting to see if any of these are on our card. Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, Jets, Panthers, and Texans. Panthers and Texans who are actually playing each other this week. But all those teams are coming off a bye. And then teams that we do have on a bye this week. So obviously, who is on a bye? Is anybody on a bye this week? Nobody on a bye this week?
That's bizarre.
That can't be right. I think that's bizarre.
Somebody.
Nobody
Isn't
on a
it
bye.
usually at least 2 teams? No.
There's nobody on a bye week this week.
Wow.
Yeah, strange. But a lot of teams coming off a bye. All right, should we get into it? Should we go to the wheel?
Yeah. I'm ready to do it.
Let's do it.
Man, what's the logic there with the NFL? 6 teams on a bye 1 week, and then
That's
wouldn't
strange.
it just make sense to have 4 and 2? I feel like
I'd
that
love
just
to-
feels reasonable.
I'd love to talk to the schedule.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe it's something where they just have like data where a lot more people are trying to watch football this weekend or something, and they want to just pack the schedule with as many games as possible.
Yeah.
I feel like that must be it. But all right, let's get to this.
Is the wheel like getting loose? It's like a slow, like warming up.
Yeah, it's always spinning. I think maybe it
That
just
is
sticks out more because there's so many slices at this point.
Yeah.
We each have 8 slices, so
Yeah. All right.
but one for each week, like we've said. So all
Yeah.
right, here we go.
Do it.
All right.
Nice. You haven't gotten much wheel love recently, so that that
This
feels
is
good.
yeah, I'll be interested to see.
I
how
think
you
that's what we were talking about. I think last week, I went first, and we were commenting how I felt like I was always getting that first pick.
Yeah.
I feel like you haven't gone first much this season, Tristan.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how you guys react to this pick. It is a team coming off a bye week. So I'm taking the Bengals plus 3.5 over the 49ers. Like them coming off the bye. You've got 49ers coming off 2 straight losses, short rest from the Monday night game. Trent Williams still not practicing. It seems like Debo's still out. Purdy is back at practice. I know there was some talk about the concussion thing. But I think the thing we're seeing from the last couple of weeks is that offense looks different, with Williams and Debo out. Some things I do like in terms of trends: Burrow's 14-2 against the spread as a dog of 3 points or more in the NFL. The 49er, Burrow's 17-7 against the spread versus teams with a sack rate of 3+. And the 49ers are a team with a 3.4% defensive sack rate. Burrow's also been great on the road. 20-10 against the spread, 14-10 against 14-10-1 at home. The 49ers have covered against the spread at home in 10 straight. So that is worth noting.
Wow.
Teams are 135 and 182 straight up, coming off 2 straight losses on short rest in the last 20 years. I think we talked about this. I want to say, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Kieran, when you had the Bengals as your mortal lock against the Seahawks. This is kind of that time of year where they start to find their stride. And, I think the bye comes at a good time. Burrow, continues to get healthy. And the 49ers are reeling. I definitely think there's got to be some concern there, with how good they looked through the first 5 weeks of the season. And they're still not fully healthy. And like, these are key guys that are out, key guys that are hurt. So I like the trends. I like the Bengals coming off the bye, getting points, even though they're on the road. Burrow's played well, on the road against the spread. He's played well against the spread as a dog. I feel like that offense is really starting to find its stride. And again, we're not asking them to win straight up. I like the fact that we're getting that hook on the 3 with 3.5 points. So I like the Bengals here.
Yeah, this was a look ahead pick that I had. I agree with pretty much everything that you said. Bengals coming off the bye. I feel like what we're seeing now is Purdy starting to just kind of regress to the mean a little bit. He got off to a very hot start last year, and then he's been playing well this year. Maybe not as statistically great as last year, but he's still been playing at a high level. And now we're starting to see him slip up a little bit, maybe not make all the throws that he was always hitting like on the mark last year. And we're starting to see them lose. And I agree with everything you're saying about the injuries. I feel like what we're seeing now is they're just kind of limping into the bye week. The Niners have the bye week next week. So I feel like they're just trying to get there, rust up, do everything. So I think that this is a typical spot where you have to go with the Bengals here. It did end up being a pass for me. I ended up leaving it off my final card just because I felt like with the once the Purdy news came out about him being concussed, and I know that he was a limited participant at practice, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's progressing fast through the protocol or anything. That just means that he could have been out there throwing some balls, doing whatever. But so he's not totally cleared. If Darnold comes in, not that I think that Darnold is the better quarterback, but I do think that sometimes you get that switch up, and it just gives me like weird vibes going into it. So I just wanted to stay away from it completely with no certainty there. But yeah, in any other situation, I'm going Bengals here.
Yeah. Tristan, you touched on it. Really watching that Niners game on Monday night with Purdy, Debo is one thing. Losing Debo is obviously, he's a big part of the offense. You design a lot of plays around him, and even him just going in motion does things to a defense. Where if you put Ray McLeod in motion, it doesn't really do the same thing. You don't really get the same reaction from the defense if a guy that's not a threat is going in motion. He's very important. But Trent Williams is maybe one of the most important people you can have on your team, healthy. Seeing Purdy struggle, and I think a lot of times his pocket presence was just not there. He was almost anticipating the rush, the pass rush getting to him, and already kind of making up his mind on if he was going to scramble or run or just throw the ball away or rush it, because he's not as comfortable back there without Trent Williams, and I think that was very apparent. Danielle Hunter and those Vikings, they were flying around, which doesn't help. But I just see more of the same from the Niners. I think they're going to struggle a bit out the gates. See a spot for Joe Burrow coming off a bye. Jamar Chase has been crazy this year when they throw him the ball. T. Higgins has another week to, get himself right and rebound a bit. Then, he kind of had a slower start to the year. And, that Bengals D-line is a problem. They have a lot of playmakers. Trey Hendrickson can really get after Purdy, especially if Trent is not going to be out there. Love the pick. It weren't on my board just because of the QB uncertainty. But yeah, they that would have been the pick, or that's the lean for sure.
Yeah. Do we I know it's never happened before in the history of the NFL, but do we need to talk about Trent Williams for MVP?
Maybe.
Is that a conversation to be had?
I think in a general sense, there's not many guys on an offense. He's like top 3 guys you pick to start an offense with. I feel like
it's a pretty, obviously I'm being facetious, but that guy's
he's
unreal.
insane.
Yeah,
he's insane.
He's unreal. And it's amazing to see. Obviously, Debo's a part of the equation. It's not just Williams, but it is amazing to see how this offense has regressed, with those 2 guys going down. Again, they're 2 very, very great players, important pieces, but you know, it's pretty remarkable. Like, you know, when everybody's out there and they're healthy, I mean, one of the best teams you've ever seen. And then you lose those two guys, and now you're just like, now people are questioning Purdy as a quarterback. You know, it's pretty wild to see how the narrative just, you know, changes so quickly with injuries.
You know, not for nothing too. I see the video circulated all the time on Twitter and shit. When the Niners come out of the locker room, they have a big speaker. Some guy holds it for them in the front. The two first people in the line every single video is Debo
and Trent Williams. Yeah.
And that says a
that's
lot.
great.
That says a lot. That says a lot more, you know, about their presence on that team and in the huddle and on the field, their attitude and shit. You know what I mean? Like, they're the leaders. They're the guys that walk out first.
What an observation. That's a sharp observation.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, they're all pro guys. You know, it's
yep.
They're the team. So yeah, like the pick. Like the pick a lot.
Wonderful. Let's go back to the wheel.
All right.
The pick is Falcons -3. I'm a dirty boy. I love getting in the mud.
You are
fully entrenched in the mud.
You're a naughty boy.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's gross. Road favorite. Never really liked those. Again, especially with the Desmond Ritter led team. I think there's a lot wrong with Atlanta in a general sense. Style, you know, the way they play the game. Don't love it. Don't love.
You're gonna talk yourself out of it?
No. That's why I love it so much. I hate the pick so much, but I just see Tennessee in a spot starting a rookie quarterback. They're trading one of their best defensive players this past week. I think actively shopping DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry, or at least Twitter is shopping them. I don't know how valid, you know, those reports are, but it sounds like everybody's on the table for them moving forward the next, you know, till whenever the trade deadline is. So just think it's going to be really, really difficult for them to have any connection on that offense, move the ball at all. The Falcons have a really good defense. What do you guys think? This is just more of a in the news feel kind of play. It's the Titans are down. Levis is an unknown. Falcons are okay.
So this is this game was not on my card. This was a game that was on my radar. I'm actually kind of happy that you made this pick so that I didn't have to make it, because it was one that I also really wanted to make, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't put it on my card because I was a bit torn, because I am a Will Levis guy. I do like the idea of him making this start in the Houston Oilers uniforms. I do know that Traylon Burks, he was practicing all week while they were in London. So even though he did not make the trip, he did not play in the game because of his injury. He was playing. I think he just wanted to take some extra time to heal up. So I feel like the Titans could come back and play pretty well. But the reason that I wanted to bet on the Falcons is actually because I was talking to Jeremy this week, and Zach knows better than anybody, right? When Jeremy has a really, really, really confident feeling about a bet, you have to go the other way. He said to me, I can't think of a more fraudulent 4-3 team than the Desmond Ritter-led Falcons. Damn, you're going to talk me into betting the Titans this week. I wasn't even talking about betting the Titans. I was just talking about the Titans, like State of the Union, anything like that. I was not talking about taking their side. I was not talking about the spread. I wasn't even talking about their matchup. So all of a sudden, I just said something about the Titans. All of a sudden, he starts attacking the Falcons, going after them. I said, chill, the Falcons are my divisional pick. He said he's so bad talking about Desmond Ritter. So because of that, I feel like we have to just go on the Falcons here.
I love it. That's such good news.
All right, so full transparency. I did have the Titans on my card.
Ooh.
And let me just explain. Let me explain why. Let me explain. Vrabel as a coach, 5-1 against the spread, as a head coach coming off the bye. He did just get inducted into the Pats Hall of Fame. I wasn't sure how to read that. You know, like, is he distracted because of that? You know, does that give him like some momentum, you know, going into the week? Is it a non-factor? As an underdog against the spread, 28-19-1. He's 25, 13-1 when an underdog of 3 points or more. The Falcons are 4-11-1 against the spread after a straight up win under Arthur Smith. The Falcons also on back-to-back weeks on the road, while Tennessee is well rested at home off the bye. Ritter statistically, not as effective as a quarterback on the road. The stats do back it up. His QB rating at home is 92. His QB rating on the road is 76. 7 touchdowns against 4 interceptions at home versus. Hold on. My cat just tried. Is he dead? You good? Hold on. All right, he's moving. He just tried leaping.
Great radio.
Sorry, he just tried leaping off of Cleo's balance beam up onto, I don't know what. I don't know. I'll deal with that later. Anyway, statistically, I think there's a lot of trends that point to the Titans as the pick here, but I respect the pick with the Falcons. I respect it. It's good.
Yeah.
I do think, if we are talking about a legitimate mush who is shitting all over the Falcons, I agree, Kieran. Like, you just have to instantly hammer. You got to hammer that side.
Yeah, for example, Tristan, when we were in Vegas, UMass was playing, I believe it was New Mexico State.
I think you texted me this.
Yeah, and they were 7.5 point
in real
dogs.
time.
And then Jeremy texted the group and he said, Jeremy's a UMass grad.
Yeah, you sent me a screenshot of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and he called it free money, all that shit. So Bo and I rushed to the window, bet the spread, bet the money line. And of course they won outright. So that's just like what Jeremy is. When he gets that confident in a bet, you have to go on the other side.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. That's good stuff. All right. Let's go back to the wheel.
It's a lot of Kiernans.
Oh, that's somehow close too.
Yeah.
All right. This is tough because neither of the games that you guys picked were on my card. So I have 5 picks in front of me. And they're all pretty close. So it's tough. It kind of comes down to how I want to play this. And, I did think that Bowen was actually going to pick one of the games. He was asking me about it earlier. And I'm wondering if I should go with that. I'm wondering if I should follow a team that I think might start getting hot.
Hold on.
I wonder if I should go for a team that I think might just be one of the best teams in the league. That's what makes it difficult.
Can I propose something?
What?
I want you to close your eyes and just follow your gut. What does your gut tell you on that list?
I'm going to go with the one that I think is the line that sticks out the most to me. It's a pick that I love because the line looks like a trap on the other side. It's a home underdog. I'm going to go with the Steelers plus 2.5.
Okay.
Against the Jaguars.
All right.
Let me see. Let me find if I have any more notes on that. Let's see. Well, first of all, you got Mike Tomlin as an underdog, as a home underdog. I don't know what his record is. I didn't write it down. But we all know that that's a great record that he has, both straight up and against the spread. I think that the Steelers have some good vibes going. I think that win that they got last week against the Rams was really big for them. They were trying to build off of a win that they had coming out of the bye, everything like that. So I really liked how they were playing, and I feel like that was something they could really build off of. I saw a graph. It was something about running backs and yards after the first contact, all that shit. And the big takeaway was that Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are actually running at a much better level than maybe they're getting credit for. And then also to me, the Jaguars, they just don't feel like they are quite that team that maybe people are expecting them to take that next leap coming into this year. I think that they're very good, but I feel like they might be more on par with what we've seen with like the highs of like the Justin Herbert Chargers, not necessarily the Chargers in the state that they're in now, but what we've seen when we've always thought that like, oh, the Chargers, they could be the team that make the push. They could be the team that steps up this year. I feel like the Jaguars are kind of in that state right now. And to me, I see that 2.5. They're coming in. We know Tomlin's record as a home dog. I feel like that screams the public going to jump on that. Oh, they think that the Jaguars are so nasty. Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, ETN, all that stuff. The Steelers, everybody, they got that reputation with Matt Canada, Fire Canada. So to me, it feels like you got to jump on that Steelers side because that Jaguars -2.5 just feels like a trap to me.
Steelers just got Deontay Johnson back. He came right back in, like got back to what he does. I do like, Jalen Warren scored a touchdown last week. I like how they're using both of those guys. Jags have a bye coming up. Could be a little bit of a look ahead spot to the bye. And then they got the 49ers after that. And I mean, look, I think it was the Thursday night game, but like, they didn't exactly like blow me away against, the fucking Saints. And what was that thing you said in the chat, Kieran? Who was talking shit?
Oh, George Pickens was saying that their secondary plays based around hope or something like that. Like they just hope that they can make a play. It was something to that extent. I'm trying to find it right now. Did I send it via text or did I send it in the?
That was a Twitter DM.
That was a tweet. Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I love George Pickens. I think that George Pickens is like the perfect guy to be talking. Yeah, Steelers wide receiver George Pickens says the Jaguars have a defense that relies on hope that the defensive line will get things done. So I think what he's saying is that these receivers are so good that they're just going to get open before the defensive line can get to Pickens.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, George Pickens is that type of guy where he talks that shit and he backs it up. He's the guy that he's on the sideline. He's getting pissed that he's not getting the ball, and then they throw to him and he makes a massive play. Like he backs all that shit up. So I mean, I like that type of trash talk from him.
I love it. You love the guy, you love the team, you love the pick.
Wait, so Kieran, what was when you were going through, like, I have 5 picks in front of me, I have one team that's gonna get hot, one team that's gonna do this. What team were the Steelers? Were they the team that's going to get hot?
I think they're the team that's going to start heating up a little bit. Like I said, I feel like that they're coming out of the bye. They got that win. It kind of felt like I don't know if it was technically a comeback win. I mean, they were down. I don't know how late they kind of made that push, took that lead, but I mean, they put together a really good offensive performance. I think that they're looking to build off of that, and I think that they're just going to start grinding out some wins.
Look, you look at their schedule too. So they're 4-2. They're half a game back of Baltimore, but they've already beaten the Ravens. So they're up in that. They get the Jags this week. Then they got the Titans, the Packers, the Browns. Then they get the Bengals. But then they get the Cardinals, the Patriots, the Colts, Bengals again, Seahawks. I mean, that's a very gettable schedule.
Oh yeah.
Very gettable. Oh, yeah. They definitely got off to the slow start. We had them week 1 against the Niners. I did.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. The Steelers feel like a team that just could win in a lot of different ways. Like, so if their offense is off one day, their defense goes crazy, has 2 big turnovers, scoop and score, whatever. Joey Porter Jr. has been fantastic. To start the season as a rookie. He's been an instant impact guy. Minka, forever, great player. TJ Watt, incredible. I feel like I say it every week on this show.
How can you not be hyped up rooting for,
always in it.
TJ Watt?
You're just always in it with TJ Watt in that defense. So it'll be close to the number, I bet, like it always is with the Steelers, but Tomlin at home as an underdog feels real good. Like the pick.
Yeah, and like I said, just that line too. I think that the public batter that isn't necessarily privy to the types of trends like that, they're going to see, oh my God, the Jaguars, all they need is a field goal to win, and then all of a sudden it's going to be, oh right, Tomlin at home as an underdog just doesn't lose, And so yeah, to me, always gonna take.
Jags also just feel very lucky, but we're very fortunate to be 5-2. They just aren't your prototypical, like you said. They don't really beat teams too convincingly ever.
Yeah, like I just feel like TJ Watt's gonna have Trevor Lawrence in hell. Like,
yeah, yeah.
All right, Sunday night game.
Let's do it. Let's go to the wheel. Oh, Jesus. Oh,
wow.
Holy shit.
The wheel fucking loves you.
I'm heating up. All right, let me go to my board. All right, I'm going with the Chargers. -8.5 over the Bears. Herbert in prime time against a team that's allowing the 4th most passing yards in the NFL. I like them to air it out. I think it's a big night for Herbert and Keenan Allen. Herbert's 8-6 against the spread in his career in night games. He is 4-2 against the spread when a favorite of 7 or more points. Eckler continuing to get settled in as he returns from injury. I think week after week he's going to continue to get better. Cameron, I know he sent that tweet in the DMs earlier. Eckler didn't really have a response about Staley, but just that I have a job to do, which I kind of love. Like, I'm just going to go out there and play football. And I love Eckler as a player. I think, week to week, he's just going to continue to get healthier. I think this is also a situation where, you've got a little bit more film on, is it Bajan? Is that how you say his name? Yes. I don't mean to disrespect the man. I don't. I just have not, I'm not familiar with this game. But you got more film on them. I think the Chargers, they've been tougher against the run. And I think, this is a situation where, with a positive game script, if they can get out to an early lead, which I think they can do with their passing game, they can put pressure on him to have to throw the ball, which I think can go against what he's comfortable doing in this offense early on. They've had to rely on the run. They did it last week with Foreman. It's a little bit of a buy low on the Chargers, sell high on the Bears here. Chargers coming off a couple losses against some top tier teams. But again, those losses are against the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Like, those are really good football teams, and they've been competitive. The Bears are coming off a win against a reeling Raiders team. Their wins this year have not been against good teams. Their schedule has not been that difficult. So I just feel like this is a good spot to buy the Chargers, laying a bunch of points against a team that's coming off a win. I like LA here.
Kieran, go ahead.
Well, I also like the Chargers here. So
okay.
My first comment is really just
Zach, you are a moot point.
My first comment really is, what the fuck is this game? I mean,
yeah,
it's like an incredibly bizarre Sunday night football game. Crazy matchup. I mean, I guess they saw it as Fields versus Herbert.
Yeah.
As a guy that doesn't really think that Fields is very good, I just never saw this as a great matchup anyways. But yeah, I mean, I'm just not buying Bajan prime time. I just don't really see that panning out too great. I think it is one of those things where it can go one of two ways. Either he kind of introduces himself to the world and just goes crazy and has like a Lynn Sanity moment, or he just gets his ass kicked. And I'm thinking about that Bears O-line. I haven't known that to be a good offensive line unit in the last few years. And I think about them against that Chargers pass rush. I think about Khalil Mack getting 6 or 7 sacks against the Raiders when Aiden O'Connell was playing. I feel like we could see a similar thing against the rookie quarterback here, Joey Bosa, as well. I think it's 2-5 versus 2-4. I think the Chargers need to win more. The Bears are a team that are trying to trend in the other direction, where the Chargers are a team that want to go out and compete. Like you said, Tristan, I do think that the Eckler comment is actually a good thing to take away from. I think that the veterans like that, they want to go out and win. I think that Eckler, Keenan Allen, I think that Herbert's ready to start winning now. Because, I mean, even though players don't necessarily care about the sports radio talk, they don't want to go out and be known as losers, right? Justin Herbert doesn't want to continue to lose in his career. So I think that this team does want to turn it around. And I think that it is a statement game where they need to come air it out against a very vulnerable pass defense and really just make a statement and try and turn the season around.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to back a rookie quarterback making a second start. in any game, but especially primetime game against a very capable team. Keeping it within that number is going to be a tall task. I know 8.5 is a big number, but it's a big number for a reason. Bears before the past few weeks, I think 2 out of the last 3 weeks they've gotten a win. They were on like a 15-game losing streak prior to that, and I don't see them getting another win, especially back-to-back wins where, you know, that offense has injuries up and down the board. Just Bajan, I didn't really catch much of the game last week, but seemed like he had some good moments. But for him to do that again in a primetime spot just feels wishful thinking. Yeah, Chargers with the pick. It's really hard to.
He only threw like 160 yards, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and then we'll talk about it in the next game. But they also benefited from 3 interceptions, one of which was a pick six.
Yep.
So I you got to read between the lines, I think, a little bit, in terms of all that. So
yeah, and I think it's just a good time to bet the Chargers too. I think that the general public opinion is pretty low on them right now. They are coming off of a really bad stretch of games. There are those comments. Even though we're saying that we like the comments from Meckler, he is still saying, "I have no feelings about my coach. I'm just here to work." It's not. It's also
nice
not a
say,
good
though,
thing.
No,
Yeah.
no. But I do like there's a little bit of like, to your point, I think the last couple of weeks I have cussed the Chargers out and essentially said like Herbert's dead to me and all of that. But that's also like, to your point, Kieran, like that's a great point to then be like, all right, this might be a good time to actually go back in on him, because maybe that's getting baked into the line and public perception. And Herbert's still a really good quarterback. They got
we could call it the Michael Corleone lock of the week. Just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in.
There's been a lot of
I like it.
There's been a lot of Herbert slander this week too.
Wait, hold on. Are we gonna, can we formalize? Is that all right? It's the Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
You gotta, when you post that on X, you gotta make sure that you include that detail. The Michael.
Yeah, I just wrote the note down on the notepad.
All right.
All right, back to the
Sorry to cut you off, Bone. I had to.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
All right.
Gotta lock that in.
All right, same order.
All right.
It's got to be the Lions. I'm done with Josh McDaniels. He's a real life loser. I hate him. I don't want to support him in any way. Love everything the Lions do. They had a very, very out of character week last week. I don't think that trend continues. I think they right the ship. Don't think they'll have much trouble righting the ship. It's a sorry ass team with like 5 really, 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 really good players, but very poorly coached. The Lions are the opposite of that. They have studs across the board, are well coached, and I think they'll score at will against a team that their offense hasn't scored over 20 points all season. They needed a Mac Jones safety where he held the ball a little bit too long on a last second drive to score 21 points in their only total over that number. So I think there's a lot of internal things going on there. I don't think Josh Jacobs is necessarily happy. I don't think Devontae Adams is necessarily happy. Jimmy G is a go, it looks like, in this game.
Jimmy G is content. Jimmy G is content. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
He lives in Vegas.
He'll get hurt again when he wants to get hurt again.
He's not even playing.
Yeah.
That man is living a good life.
And I guess whoever wants to take it next, but it's Lions.
Kieran, why don't you go?
Hold on, I'm looking something up real quick. I will go. I'm just pulling something up.
God. God.
No, I'm just checking a stat real quick.
No.
I'm just looking. I need to see. All right. My pick is the Raiders +9. I feel like the Lions are just the Lions are just way too easy of a pick here. The Lions inside of 10 points. I feel like everyone's just going to want to jump on them. For what it's worth, I'm looking at Action Network right now. It's 97% of the bets and money are currently on the Lions. Of course, there are a lot of days between now and Monday for that to change, but that is an unbelievable amount. You gotta fade that. I like I said, I think that they're just the easy pick inside of 10 points. They're coming off the bad loss. They're back home. We know that they play better at home. The Raiders, they're coming off a loss to the Bears, but you're getting Jimmy Garoppolo back. I know that maybe he hasn't been as effective on a weaker team in terms of winning. I know that a big part of his appeal was his record, and maybe that was kind of boosted by playing in that Niners system, and he's not as effective as a winning quarterback in Vegas, but he is a massive step up from Brian Hoyer for sure. I think this is just you need to be uncomfortable. I think like seeing that much of the public on one side, and like I said, that inside of 10 points feels too easy. I think you got to be uncomfortable. Go with the Raiders +9.
All right. I'm going to come clean, and then I'm going to make my pick. Last week, I was last to go on the Monday night pick. And after hearing the arguments, I flipped my pick at the end, and I supported the Vikings pick. I was sitting here with my Google Doc, and I had originally taken San Fran. And then after hearing Kiernan's passionate argument for the Vikings +7, I flipped the pick, and I'm going to do it again. We're going to go with the Raiders.
All right.
Let's get it.
So just my original thought on this was I like the fact that Goff is back at home. We actually talked last week when we faded the Lions, Goff's record on the road versus his record at home. But the public being 97%.
It's wild.
Lions. Like I don't know. I mean, I'd love to, maybe Darren Ravellis tweeted about this, but has it ever been that high for a team? And that almost does feel like an auto fade.
This to me feels like one of those games where the Monday night crew makes their picks. It's all Lions across the board.
And then the Raiders win it
and
out.
The Raiders come out and win outright.
It could be. It literally
the
could.
Raiders offense. The Raiders offense is. I know I just went off about them not being a complete team or whatever. They really do have those elite guys though. Where if they just catch that stride in one game against a Lions team that has had some bad moments this year on defense. I mean, who knows? I mean, again, I'm going against everything I just said, but I did also say they have like some really, really high end elite, skill position guys, and on any given night, Devontae Adams could just fuck you right in the face. So
yeah, I mean, this could be like a Devontae Adams 12 catch, 150-yard, 2-touchdown night. We've seen Jacoby Myers really start to break out as a really good receiver. I mean, maybe we haven't seen Josh Jacobs quite put it together, but yeah, like we're saying, I mean, we're talking about a team that has a ton of weapons and they're 9-point underdogs. And yeah, I just feel like that they could maybe keep it close, muck it up. Maybe it's just like an ugly game, something like that. And we were talking a bit about other teams kind of just trying to get into the bye week. The Lions could be the same way. Of course, they're missing David Montgomery. I know that they've been banged up at other positions as well. So it's like they could just be another team that maybe they just need to get into the bye week. They need to recharge and then they can kind of prepare for a second half push. So yeah, I mean, I just think that this is a pick where you're just going to be uncomfortable the whole time, but I think that's exactly what you want to be.
Oh, and again, like, I mean, the spread is so big. It's like, it's hard to imagine the Lions don't win this game, but covering 9,
right.
That's a lot. And, I think to what was just being, said, like, I mean, the Raiders do have elite players, at skill positions. Yeah, I was originally on the Lions here, but again, being honest, I was very heavily persuaded by Kiernan's argument last week. And I just felt compelled in the moment to flip the pick. I did not have any shame about doing that. I didn't share it with you guys in real time because I I didn't know how that would be received given my record. But I you know, the public betting thing just, I mean, it really jumps out at me.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that. I'm glad I'm aware of it. And I get, you know, with that type of talent, getting 9, you know, yeah, I think it's a good spot to be.
Yeah, and granted,
Kieran,
like that's just that's Action Network data, so that's not like
Yeah,
factoring
for
like
sure.
all these sports books. That's just
Kieran,
like
Kieran, where's the money at for that game? I know the public.
it was 97% for both.
Oh shit! Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's crazy.
you know, and you know, I mean, look,
and that's 27.9K bets on the game so far that are logged on the app. So,
that's
Right.
that's
Holy shit.
and of course, that also factors in
Pretty big
totals and
sample size.
props and money lines and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you got to
yeah.
figure a massive portion of that is still going towards that spread.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's also at 7.5 now.
Oh, really?
So maybe we're getting the price before Garoppolo was decided to be back. I'm not sure, but
That
yeah.
must be it. That must be.
That could move a line though. I mean Hoyer.
Yeah, I
is
mean
fucking
typically a
hot
starter
garbage,
quarterback like
so,
that's worth a point or two. So
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And you know, Jimmy G's the type of guy, he'll keep you in the game. He'll lose you the game, but he'll keep you in the
Definitely.
yeah, I mean I'm looking at their game log now, and it's a lot of one-score games. I mean, granted, of course they lost by 18 last week, but I mean that's with Hoyer. You can kind of wipe that clean and not count it towards the record for this argument.
for sure.
But when they played the Bills, they did lose by 28. But besides that, it's all been a 1-point game, 5-point game, 7-point, 4-point, 4-point. They're playing these games close. So this is a team also that I said I kind of like them to maybe go on a sneaky run, and I'm looking at their schedule. They don't always have the easiest schedule, but maybe this is a game that they can steal, especially with the lines. Kind of maybe they're looking ahead to their bye week as well.
Well, Raiders get the Giants and the Jets next, right?
Yeah.
So could easily find themselves 5-5, 6-4. Then they get the Dolphins, Chiefs. That's tough. Vikings, Chargers, a winnable game. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of talent there. I know we're down on McDaniels. I know we're waiting for the day that he gets fired. We'll probably have to have an emergency Zoom, crack one open when it happens.
I was talking about it today.
Loser.
Right now, it's really not a possibility, I don't think, unless they've started doing fun.
It's a money thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like the Raiders are basically too cash poor to fire him because I think they're also paying Gruden. They might also be paying another coach, whoever was the coach before that. He might still be on the books. So they really can't do that and also be able to hire a coach on top of it. So guys like McDaniels and Sean Payton really have like the safest jobs in the league.
I'm pretty sure Mark Davis also has like a massive like property payment or property tax or something like that that's due on something that I read. I was reading an article somewhere where it was like he owes like whoever like a shit ton of money in like the coming year or so, and he's literally like too cash poor.
Wait, how do we short? Can we short Mark?
Anything?
Yeah,
There's got to be a way.
Whatever
That's like,
company.
Where'd you get that off? Reddit? Like that's a
No, I'm telling you, I think
Reddit tip.
I don't have. It might be a Reddit tip, but no, I just
That's
I love the
great.
Huh?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How do we make money off that tip? We got to figure that out. We got to create a market for that.
Yeah.
I think we got to hit Vegas and get in his ear.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
We got to find a guy like Brad Pitt in the Big Short, like a old investment banker.
Or we need to go to a bank and just ask them to create a market to short.
Simple enough.
Show up at Deutsche. Go to Deutsche one day. Just tell them we want them to create a market to short Mark Davis. They'll be like, okay.
But did you guys see the video of Mark Davis in the booth with his very young girlfriend. After like McDaniels didn't go for it on fourth down or something like that, and he was
They
like
were telling him
motherfucking
like fire
McDaniels.
McDaniels, right?
Yeah,
Oh
he was
yeah, and
like
he's like, "Fuck
motherfucking
you,
McDaniels in
fuck
the booth,
you."
and his
Yeah,
girlfriend was all like pissed off and snooty looking. Like that is like the perfect guy. He's like
so funny.
he's a perfect human.
It's so fucking good.
He's incredible.
I love it.
They're a joke, but they're gonna cover. So
I I
uh,
love I love that we're gonna get in the mud with the Raiders +9. I love it.
I wonder what like when Circa puts out like the number of picks on each team for the week or whatever.
Yeah.
This is gonna have to be the Lions at least. I think they'll be at least the top 5 pick um, on the board. I can only imagine with this much public love, it's probably going to be a top 2-3 pick. So I love fading everybody else too potentially.
Yeah, I mean that could play in our favor for sure.
Yeah,
You know, if a lot of people take that side, um, that could definitely play in our favor. So
Kieran, I think you were on the side of a pretty lopsided one. Like not many people were on the Steelers last week, and I think you were one of like 700 people or teams to pick the Steelers as opposed to like 2,000 the other way.
just an elite group of pickers.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels like we're kind of in that part of the season where Vegas kind of just bites back, and oh, we
Where
just
did
lose
Bowen
Bowen.
go? What did he do?
I don't know. We just lost him. Is his phone die or something?
His apartment blow up? Jesus.
um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like we're at that part of the
That would be
season where Vegas
shocking.
just kind of bites back, and all of a sudden they start making all that money back. So
Yeah.
yeah, going with those ugly picks. I feel like it wasn't working early in the season. That's what I was saying about Stu Feiner. He plays that contrarian role, and
Yeah.
he likes to go against those trends and kind of pick the ugly picks. And he wasn't hitting them, but then last week he had a crazy big week, and I feel like that this is now the time where those picks are going to start hitting again.
You know what I think happened?
What?
I think Bowen's phone died.
I think 100% that's what happened.
He's scrambling for a charger right
Oh
now.
yeah, because we'd already have a text by now. You'd think.
Absolutely scrambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can just wrap it up. We don't have to.
I hope you don't mind me coming clean about the I did flip that pick last week.
No. Why would I mind that?
I came to the call. I was originally on the Vikings. I talked myself into the Niners, and then I listened, like I heard your argument, and I was like, I sat here and like I don't think I like had a tell, but I flipped it on the fly. And I just like I had to go with it. And I felt so compelled. And I gotta tell you, I felt the exact same feeling that I felt last week. Like I was when Bowen came out of the gates with the Lions -9, I needed to hear you go. And that's why I did. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I think it's too, and this is all, it's all due respect. This is not this is nothing against Bowen, but it was just I was feeling like I was in the same place that I was last week, and I'm like, I need to hear what Kiernan says before I make my pick, because I kind of felt like I was going to be in that same position. And then once you said the 97% public thing, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I had written that note down. I mean, and especially because my first note on the game was that the Lions are the easy pick inside of 10 points. You especially, I like kind of picking those teams that are coming off of bad losses, like the Raiders are coming off of that Bears loss. And then of course you can also say the same thing about the Lions coming back home. But I think that adds kind of to the narrative that they're the easy pick. And once Bowen came out and he just said it's the Lions, blah blah blah. It's like that's exactly why. Like hearing that is exactly why I wanted to go on the other side.
yeah. I think yeah, and just the more I think on it, I'm like the rate, like that's, especially if they've got Jimmy G back, that's too good of a team, and even though they're on the road, they're also going to be indoors, like on turf, right? That's a team that can fly. They got some skill guys that can move, that can fly. I mean, they should be in the mix,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine them getting blown out on Monday night. It's probably more of McDaniels will find a way to fuck up the win, but he won't fuck up the cover. You know?
Exactly. And like I was going through their game log and they're just playing all those close games.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like they have an opportunity to maybe drive down the field and maybe tie it up or something. Then Garoppolo throws a pick or fumbles it on like a strip sack or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they'll keep it close enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that, boys.
No, we called it though. We called it. You sent that text that I was like, oh, we nailed it. We were like,
Yeah.
some kind of phone die. It was either a pipe exploded and you're gone, or it was the phone died. And I'm glad it was the latter.
Yeah, just disregarded charging my phone all night. So I was due. Had no idea.
I was due. All right, so let me just recap these so I can get them in right. All right, we got the Steelers plus 2.5. That's Kieran, that's your pick, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, your Steelers 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, a little bit.
I did say there's a team that I think is going to get hot, so it only makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit of a trend developing there. We got the Falcons -3. That's a dirty naughty boy pick.
That's my dirty naughty boy pick of the year.
Yeah. We got the Bengals plus 3.5. That's my pick. We got the Chargers -8.5 in the Michael Corleone of the week. And then we got the Raiders +9 on Monday night. That's our path to 5-0.
Yeah. I think it's an alternate route to 5-0. I think it's a real, forward thinking board. I think we really
4-1 gets us above 500. 3-2 doesn't quite get us there. That would get us to 19 and 20. But of course, any step closer is great. And then 5-0 gets us well on our way to starting to make some money. So yeah, I mean, we're coming off of 4. Well, I guess this would be week 4 of that booby contest. So I guess we get to get hot to start off the next week, right? We're trying to build something in the next week, get it going, and then try and win some money over that span.
Next quarter, yeah.
Because if we can get hot in this next quarter, then all of a sudden we can just kind of thrust ourselves back into the competition as a whole.
Yep. Hey, look,
I believe.
Just we're close to 500. You hover around that for a little bit. You mix in a few like big weeks, like we just did. Like, I mean, we're back in striking distance. This is, this is a good spot to be in. So if we can put another big week together, that could really put us in a good spot. So I'm excited. 4-1 was awesome. Love the feeling of the week. Love the vibes going into this week. Let's cash in. Let's make it happen.
Fuck yeah.
All
right. Good chat. Good talk. Get out there.
Peace, fellas.
I'll talk to you guys
Later.